The Powkiddy RGB20 Pro has got one of the coolest design features I've ever seen in a handheld, and in this video we're going to review it. So without further delay, let's dive in. So just to let you guys know, Litnxt sent this handheld along with all the other handhelds they've sent in the past for free for review, but no money is exchanged hands, and of course my opinions are my own alone, and Litnxt doesn't get to see the videos before they go live. So just one more thing I need to make you aware of before we get on with this review is I'm actually giving this handheld away along with 5 other handhelds on the 8th of December as part of Litmas, the biggest giveaway that I've ever done on this channel. So how you enter the giveaway is in the description below. There's a link to my Patreon. It's $5 a month and you only have to sign up for 1 month. You can cancel anytime, and a lot of people, and I've been encouraging it, people have been signing up for the Patreon to enter the giveaway and then cancelling their Patreon, which is absolutely fine. I do get that people, they don't really want to be paying $5 a month, but they would really like to take part in this giveaway, especially because there's only about 14 people entered so far. So your chances are really high at snagging one of these devices, and as I said, I've got 6 in total to give away. So far I've announced 3 of the 6 devices. We've got the Emulation RG40 XXV, the Mia Mini Plus, and now of course the Powkiddy RGB20 Pro. So let's go ahead and start reviewing it, and we'll start off with my favourite, the unboxing. So Powkiddy devices, much like Emulation, have a very minimalist box, so there's not really that much on here apart from the colour, which we can see it comes in grey. So as we open it up, we can see we have an SD card and some instructions. Now the SD card we have here is 128GB, and of course the instructions are there if you want to read them, but you guys know I never do. So we've took the device up, we'll have a look at that in a moment, but we can see you do get a USB-A to USB-C cable, and that's for charging. So let's take the device out and have our first look at it. And I must say, I'm actually really impressed. I think it's really cool how it has this kind of transparent case over the grey one, and of course we have that cut out so you can see all the electronics inside. Now the size of this device is actually quite nice. It's a good size to be very comfortable if you're using it on long play sessions. Now of course when you buy a Litnxt device, they do give you the option, actually a couple of options for different sized SD cards. This one came with 128GB, and of course it will be given away with the SD card. So it's time to take a tour around the device, and as you can see there's that clear panel at the bottom so we can see some of the microchips and the Wi-Fi card, etc. Now the D-pad feels really nice, just the right amount of clickiness, and so does all the buttons. In the center we have that single speaker, and then we have some switch style analog sticks. We have start, select, and it's also quite strange to see the volume up and down on the front. On the top of the device we have 2 USB-C, one is OTG, one's for charging, and then a micro HDMI out. On the left side we have a single micro SD card slot, and the same again on the right side, but we also have a reset button and a power button. Looking at the back of the device we have L1, L2, R1 and R2, and then on the bottom we just have a single 3.5-inch headphone jack. So let's take a quick look at the specs. The system supports multiple open source Linux. The display is a 3.2-inch IPS OCA full lamination with a resolution of 1024 by 768. The main controller, the CPU, is an ARM quad-core 1.8 GHz high-performance open source chip with 1 GB of LPDDR4, and of course it does have those twin SD card slots supporting up to 256 gigabyte. It has built-in Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz. I don't think it supports 5 gigahertz. It's got Bluetooth. It's got a built-in speaker that's 1 watt. The lithium battery is 5000 milliamp hours, which should last about 10 hours and take about 2.5 hours to charge. Of course, we have that Type-C port, the Type-C port for the OTG, and a standard 3.5mm headphone jack. So now we're going to run through some of the systems it supports. Capcom 1, 2 and 3, MAME, WonderSwan and WonderSwan Color, PC Engine, Family Computer, Super Famicom, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Game Boy and Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, Mega Drive, Genesis, Game Gear, Neo Geo, Neo Geo Pocket, Neo Geo Pocket Color, PlayStation, PSP, MSX and MSX2. So the first game I actually started testing was Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories on the PSP. Now, the game is kind of playable in some areas, but I did find it a little bit tricky and hard to control, and that's not down to the controls on the handheld, that's the emulator itself, or more to do with the performance we're getting here, because it kind of felt like it was in slow motion, and that was even more apparent when we played Ridge Racer on the PSP. We had a lot of stuttering and performance was really struggling, so the chipset on this system, I would say it's not really ideal for PSP. You might be able to play some of the older titles, but some of the more demanding titles like Chains of Olympus, Grand Theft Auto and apparently Ridge Racer, you're just not going to get a very good experience. Now luckily everything before that runs absolutely great. So here you can see I'm playing Streets of Rage 2, one of my favourite Mega Drive games, and of course it's from this 16-bit era, so you kind of expect it to work. And this will be the same for Super Nintendo, NES, Game Gear, etc, etc. All these are going to work absolutely fine. Now one of the systems that I think this handheld is perfect for, and that's the original PlayStation, so the PS1. As you can see here, I'm playing Crash Bandicoot and it's running amazingly, and having those two analog sticks just make it perfect for all the other titles that require them. So as I said before, it does have that micro HDMI out, so you can use a capture card or connect it to a TV. Now unfortunately it won't display on the TV and the handheld at the same time, but then again you only need one screen at a time to look at, and it works perfect. Now, as I said at the start, having that see-through panel where you can see all the chips and electronics, etc., I really like that design feature. And a lot of the devices that I have, I do opt for a transparent case, albeit atomic purple, but it's just really cool to actually see the inner workings of a device. Now, comfort-wise, this is a really good sized device, especially if you've got bigger hands like me. Some of the smaller devices can be uncomfortable, but I find this device kind of the sweet spot between comfort, but it will still slide in your pocket so you can carry it around with you. Now, despite having Pro in its name, it definitely isn't a high-end device, and the price point is not high-end anyway, it's entry-level, and you're getting entry-level performance here. So N64 and PSP, they're not going to run great. You will get some stuttering, and there's a couple of games like the GTA Vice City Stories, it wasn't playing very well. There's a few other games as well that were very stuttery. So if you do want a handheld for N64 or PSP, then this isn't the device for you. But if you just want to dabble maybe a couple of games that are not as demanding on the N64 and PSP, then you might get away with it without too many issues. Now, of course, everything before that, including the PlayStation 1, runs absolutely fantastic, so you're not going to have any problems with any of that. Now, of course, if you're thinking about buying this device or any of the other retro handhelds for emulation, Litnxt has got you covered. They pretty much sell all of them. So in the description below, I'm going to put a link to their site, plus I have a discount code Alien10 where you can save 10%. They've got a massive Black Friday deal going on right now as well, and of course if you check out their website, I'm sure you'll find a device that suits you and your budget. So in summary, this is a really cool designed handheld. I love the way you can see through and see the microchips and the Wi-Fi antenna, etc. Looks really cool. Performance wise, it's average for the class of device and its price point, which is a good thing. So when you come to pick a device, it's more based on the comfort and the form factor. Now, just before you go, don't forget about the massive giveaway we're doing on the 8th of December, Litmas. There's a link in the description below, and then by joining the Patreon, you'll get access to the Discord. If you have any questions, just drop me a DM or post it in the general chat and I'll get back to you. So I think that about wraps it up for this video, but if you enjoy my content, you know what to do by now. I'm JP, you've been watching Alien Gaming, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.